And we welcome you to a special edition of the Plate Meeting Podcast alongside the owner and operator of Close Call Sports, Lindsay Imber. This is Tim McCaffrey. Lindsay, how you doing?
Hi, Tim. It's early for me.
Yeah, we're recording this early in the morning, and I know you're going to go nap very quickly here and run the controls, and hopefully we can carry it the rest of the way with a very special guest. And that's Greta Langhenry. She's the co-founder and president of Level Up, and she joins us here on the Plate Meeting Podcast. Greta, out there, it's good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Thanks for having me. I'm
Now,
excited.
sorry. We'll probably drop this in the evening, so everybody will be like, "Why are they saying this?" So before we begin, for those of us that know you, this is easy, but there are a lot of people that don't know you. Can you talk a little bit about your baseball umpiring journey?
Sure. I've always been a fan of baseball and always wanted to play, but wasn't allowed because I was a little girl, and they didn't let little girls play where I grew up. So I found umpiring at sort of a later age, and went to the Wendelstedt Umpire School and graduated from there and started umpiring after that. It was a lot of fun, but it was a little challenging to go to professional umpire school as a complete novice rookie. Never called a pitch, never seen a play on the field like that. But it was a lot of fun.
So you decide at some point you go to the umpire school, and what happens from there?
Well, after umpire school, things have changed, in the last few years. So the way things used to work was you would go to umpire school, and then if you graduated at the top percentage of your class, you would go to something called the advanced course, where you would compete with students from the other school in Vero for jobs. And I was lucky enough and worked hard enough to get there my first year through school. So I did that in 2019, and then went on to work the Florida Collegiate Summer League and the CPL, where I was the first woman to work both of those leagues.
Speaking of accomplishments, you've already tallied a few in your young umpiring career. One of them is kind of revolutionizing the game for ladies that are umpiring. Can you talk a little bit about the idea that this profession was essentially uh, for men by men, and you're changing that?
Well, we're trying to, only because there's, I think, no reason not to. I don't think there's any reason that women can't be fantastic umpires. Um, you say young umpire, I kind of giggled. Let's at least say green. Maybe not young, but green. Um, but yeah, I think that women will make fine umpires. And my first year at Harry's at the Wendelstedt School in Daytona, there were probably 100 students, 99 men and me, and 99 students who had umpired before and me. And that can feel a little lonely. And so that's why we formed Level Up, my co founder, Nikki Kersey, and I, to send more women through umpire school and together so that hopefully nobody goes alone again.
Well, let's speak a little bit about Level Up and how the connection is with the Wendelstedt Umpire School. What are some of the goals going into the 2026 Wendelstedt Umpire School that you're looking for?
Well, as you know, they've made an announcement that this would be the last year of the Wendelstedt Umpire School. Um, I'm sad about that. A lot of us are. It's an institution. I think it's correctly referred to as the Harvard of umpire schools. It is the premier educational opportunity for anyone who wants to do this job in the entire world. And so for the last year, our goal here at Level Up is to send the largest cohort of women through in history. And so that's what we're working towards.
Well, it's interesting you say that it's the last year of the umpire school at Wendelstedt. because it's going to be a great year in 2026. It's the last year of the traditional umpire school, the go there and have the two-person class. But I've got a funny feeling about things. Well, I'll just be quiet. I want to talk another thing about how you're revolutionizing the game, and that's by creating new equipment. I mean, it's uh, not every person is the same in legs and body type, and you're changing that game by creating equipment for women as well.
We're certainly trying to. In fact, in 2019, early 2019 or maybe 2018, um, the entire reason I thought about being an umpire was because I read a news story online that said they don't make umpire equipment for women. However, here are two pictures of women who are doing the job anyway. And those two pictures were Emma Charlesworth Sealer and Jen Powell, who just made a debut as the first woman to ever work a regular season game this year. Um, and they looked so cool. And I thought, oh my gosh, I could finally be on a baseball field after all these years. Everybody told me I couldn't. This is a job I could do. And so, even though the whole story was they don't make chest protectors for women, they don't make pants for women, they don't, none of this stuff is made for us, or really, frankly, a wide range of body types. So, it's not just women, it's everyone. So that's another program that we're trying to work on here at Level Ump. We're working with a fashion design student, Martha Rigney, out of LSU. And actually, on our website right now, we have a couple of tutorials on how to hem your pants yourself or taper the legs. Um, a bunch of this job is walking out. It's your first impression when you walk out and go to the plate meeting, and you need to look professional. And that's hard to do when stuff doesn't fit.
The plate meeting. It's a good name for a podcast, and that's what we're doing here. We're talking with Greta Langhenry. She is the co-founder and president of Level Up. It says it right on her shirt. I should have one of those close call sports on my shirts, Lindsay. Free merchandise. I just saying.
I'll
Now
send
that Lindsay
you a
can't speak.
Level Up
Now that
shirt.
Lindsay can't speak for herself. There you go. A little close call sports name pin or something. But anything, anything free is always better than something that you pay for. You're so good at this. I have everything on my list here of things I want to get to, and you transition to Jen Powell here, who is the perfect example of somebody that was put the weight of the world on her shoulders. When you think about what she was asked to accomplish, her schedule was announced a week in advance. Essentially, that's never happened before in my time. We're a AAA umpire. Hey, we're gonna put you in Atlanta and we're going to make you do 15 interviews. And I don't want to certainly put words in her mouth, but I thought that was really, really difficult. And then, of course, she has the pressure of actually umpiring the 3 games in 24 hours. But there was somebody there for that adventure. And it shows how much the bond of the lady umpires is and how strong it is, because it's such a, I mean, let's be honest. It's a rare occurrence that we've ever seen a young lady on a professional baseball field. But you were there for the historic moment in Atlanta.
I was. I actually had a little secret savings account the last few years that I've been socking away money into because, as you know, generally we don't know who the umpires will be for any new series until the series starts. Like the general public doesn't know that. And so I thought, well, I won't know who the first woman will be until the night before or the day of, and night before if I'm lucky, and the day after. So I had saved some money, and they did announce her schedule early, and I can't say anything about how she feels about that. I can say that that happened to me also in the CPL. They announced my schedule early, which had never happened before, and it was difficult for me personally to know that people knew that I would be there, and certainly people did show up because of that. And that puts a little extra, certainly extra pressure on any umpire, male or female. So
What was amazing is that I think it's the first time that non-family members, other than friends, but people who didn't know Jen Powell's story, bought tickets and went to the games. I
there were
mean,
so many little girls with signs that it was hard to be angry. I was like, "Oh, don't tell her schedule." Ahead of time, I wouldn't, we wouldn't do that for the men, but there were so many little girls with signs, and I was able to get there in time to be at all three of her games. In fact, on Sunday when she had the plate, I sat right behind the plate, and for the first time at any game I have ever gone to, I got a foul ball, and it came out of her ball bag, and she put it into play. And it was so special for me and for so many people. At Level Up, we like to say, if you can see it, you can be it. And this was the first time anybody had ever seen anything like that. And I think that's a huge deal for baseball and for, you know, anybody anywhere, especially little girls and other underrepresented folks in baseball, which there are a lot of.
Where's that ball right now? It's
It's
autographed and on the mantle?
it's very safe on the mantle, awaiting the next time I see Jen for an autograph.
Yeah, I mean, that is a pretty incredible accomplishment. And speaking of incredible accomplishments, the Women's Professional Baseball League starts next season in its first season of existence. Four teams expected to play in a short schedule, but it's here, it's time. And the tryouts were earlier this year, and you were on the field for them. Take me through what that was like, seeing young ladies in a journey to play professional baseball.
It was amazing. It was so inspiring. If I had seen something like this when I was a little girl, I would have pushed harder to be able to play baseball. But where I was, that wasn't happening. I didn't have anybody to look at, and they said girls don't play, and I just sort of accepted it, and I played softball, which I'm not saying anything bad about softball. I loved it. It was great. I caught, but it is a different game, is the only thing I will say. But I'm so inspired to see these young women come out and play. And it was a lot of fun to be there as an umpire for the scrimmage, the sort of last day of ranking folks for the draft. And I got to do a few innings on the field at Nationals Ballpark, which was really special for me.
Greta, I know you're in a very special project trying to make sure as many underrepresented people can get to the Wendelstedt Umpire School as possible. Can you take me a little bit through that project, where you are with it, how many people you expect to get there, and of course, where people can go to donate?
Yeah, of course. Well, that is our mission at Level Ump, is to support folks who want to umpire baseball, who are otherwise underrepresented in baseball. And if you imagine in your head a major league umpire, they look a certain way, and a lot of us don't look like that. And we want to help those folks who are underrepresented and don't see themselves out on the field with opportunities, scholarships to the Wendelstedt School, um, help with tailoring their uniforms or where to go, other resources about places they can work. We really want to be helpful because that information is really hard to find. When I wanted to become an umpire, I called everybody I knew, including former professional baseball players, and said, "Do you know any umpires I can talk to about how I can become one?" And I couldn't find anybody. It took literally cold emailing the woman who wrote the story that I was talking about earlier, where it says they don't make equipment for women, and giving her my phone number and saying, "Could you give the people you interviewed my number and maybe one of them will call me?" I was lucky enough someone did and helped me navigate the system. And so we want to be sort of the resource where people can come and look for those opportunities that are otherwise so hard to find.
Greta, what do you say to the young woman? Maybe she's watching this in high school. Um, to her, to encourage her to begin the journey, become a professional baseball umpire. What do you say to somebody of that age?
I think I would say that, you know, it's possible. It's certainly, Jen has done so much, and just this year, it's easier for me to now say, look, you can make it all the way, where before we were kind of hoping that one of us maybe one day would make it. um, in our lifetimes. And now that that's happened, it's a lot easier to say, look, the league is open to this, and that's something that wasn't quite clear before, at least to those of us who were hoping. So I'd say work as many games as you can. Study the rule book. That's my favorite part. Is I'm super into the rule book, and that's I'm a bit of a nerd. So, but yeah, I would say keep your head up. It's tough, and find some allies. I've had wonderful male partners over the years and kept in touch with other women who do this job. And that's something else that we offer at Level Up is if you're new and you're starting out and you don't know anybody to talk to, you can contact us and we can get you worked into a network of women who do this job all over the country. And maybe we're not your neighbor, but we understand what it is to be on the road or to work with partners that you like or don't like and managers. And I think it helps a lot to have that kind of mentorship. So that's something else that we offer.
Some great final words, Greta. Thank you very much. Greta Langhenry, she's the president and co-founder of Level Ump. To give a buck or more, visit her website at levelump.com. On behalf of everybody here, we just heard Greta mention community. Visit us on our Discord at Close Call Sports, a great place for you to find all the resources from former professional umpires to Lindsay and myself to current professional umpires. You'll never know who's going to be there who can help you along the way. And that's really what this is all about. For Lindsay Imber and Greta Langhenry, this is Tim McCaffrey. Until next time, happy umpiring, everyone.